Question 1. Surplus lines insurance claims process. In the context of Texas, surplus lines insurance claims handling, which of the following best describes the importance of effective communication and documentation? A. Effective communication and documentation help in reducing the insured's premium costs. B. Proper communication and documentation ensure compliance with regulatory requirements and facilitate a smooth claims process. C. Effective communication and documentation are primarily the responsibility of the insured. D. Documentation is not required if the claim is straightforward and uncontested. Answer. B. Proper communication and documentation ensure compliance with regulatory requirements and facilitate a smooth claims process. Explanation. Effective communication and documentation are critical in surplus lines insurance claims handling, especially in Texas. They ensure that all parties involved are well informed about the status and details of the claim, which helps in preventing misunderstandings and disputes. Additionally, thorough documentation is essential for compliance with Texas Department of Insurance regulations and for maintaining a clear record that can be reviewed during audits or legal proceedings. According to the Texas Insurance Code, insurers must keep detailed records of all claims-related communications and actions to demonstrate adherence to fair claims practices. Question 2. Surplus lines insurance claim settlement. When negotiating a settlement agreement in a surplus lines insurance claim in Texas, what is a key consideration to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements? A. Ensuring the settlement amount is always less than the policy limits. B. Including a detailed release of liability that is signed by both parties. C. Avoiding any written documentation to keep the process confidential. D. Finalizing the settlement quickly to avoid further investigation. Answer. B. Including a detailed release of liability that is signed by both parties. Explanation. In Texas, it is crucial to include a detailed release of liability signed by both parties when negotiating a settlement in surplus lines insurance claims. This document ensures that all parties agree to the terms of the settlement and that the insurer is released from any further obligations related to the claim. This step is important for compliance with the Texas Insurance Code and helps protect the insurer from future legal challenges regarding the same claim. Furthermore, maintaining comprehensive documentation of the settlement process and agreements is necessary to comply with state regulations and ensure transparency and accountability. Question 3. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation scenario. Mr. Thompson, a claims adjuster for a surplus lines insurer in Texas, is investigating a complex property damage claim. The insured, MS Garcia, claims that her commercial property was severely damaged by a fire. During the investigation, Mr. Thompson discovers conflicting statements from witnesses and incomplete documentation regarding the property's condition before the fire. What should Mr. Thompson do to handle this situation effectively and in compliance with Texas regulations? A. Deny the claim immediately due to the conflicting statements. B. Continue gathering evidence, including hiring an independent fire investigator to obtain a clear understanding of the incident. C. Approve the claim based on the insured's initial statements and documentation. D. Recommend the insured to file a new claim with more complete documentation. Answer. B. Continue gathering evidence, including hiring an independent fire investigator to obtain a clear understanding of the incident. Explanation. In this scenario, Mr. Thompson should continue gathering evidence to resolve the conflicting statements and incomplete documentation. Hiring an independent fire investigator is a best practice to ensure an unbiased and thorough investigation. This approach aligns with the Texas Department of Insurance's guidelines, which emphasize the importance of a detailed and impartial investigation in claims handling. By obtaining a clear understanding of the incident, Mr. Thompson can make a fair and informed decision regarding the claim, ensuring compliance with regulatory requirements and maintaining professional standards. Question 4. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. In Texas, how should a surplus lines insurance adjuster interpret an exclusion clause in a policy when there is ambiguity? A. The exclusion should be interpreted strictly against the insurer and in favor of the insured. B. The exclusion should be interpreted strictly in favor of the insurer. C. The exclusion should be interpreted based on the most recent case law, regardless of state-specific rules. D. The exclusion should be disregarded if there is ambiguity. Answer A. The exclusion should be interpreted strictly against the insurer and in favor of the insured. Explanation: in Texas, when there is ambiguity in an exclusion clause in a surplus lines insurance policy, it is interpreted strictly against the insurer and in favor of the insured. This principle is based on the doctrine of contra pro frentem, which holds that any ambiguous terms in a contract should be construed against the party that drafted the contract. The Texas Supreme Court has consistently upheld this principle to ensure that policyholders are not unfairly disadvantaged by unclear policy language. This approach aims to protect consumers and ensure that insurance policies are clear and understandable. Question 5. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. When evaluating the extent and value of a surplus lines insurance claim in Texas, which method is typically used to determine the replacement cost of a damaged property? A. Market value at the time of loss. B. Depreciated value based on the age of the property. C. Cost to replace the property with a new one of similar kind in quality. D. Original purchase price of the property. Answer: C. Cost to replace the property with a new one of similar kind in quality. Explanation: in Texas, the replacement cost method is typically used to determine the value of a damaged property in a surplus lines insurance claim. This method involves calculating the cost to replace the property with a new one of similar kind and quality without deducting for depreciation. This approach ensures that the insured can restore their property to its original condition, which aligns with the principle of indemnity and insurance. The Texas Department of Insurance supports this method as it provides a fair and accurate valuation of the insured's loss, ensuring they are made whole after a covered event. Question 6. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation scenario. MS Rodriguez, a surplus lines insurance adjuster in Texas, is handling a claim that has escalated to litigation. The insured, Mr. Lee, is disputing the denial of his claim for business interruption losses following a hurricane. During the discovery phase, MS Rodriguez needs to provide relevant documentation and evidence. Which of the following actions should MS Rodriguez take to ensure compliance with Texas regulations and best practices? A. Provide only the documents that support the insurer's decision to deny the claim. B. Disclose all relevant documents, including those that may support the insured's position. C. Delay the disclosure of documents to gain a strategic advantage in the litigation. D. Consult with legal counsel but refrain from disclosing any documents until instructed. Answer: B. Disclose all relevant documents, including those that may support the insured's position. Explanation: MS Rodriguez should disclose all relevant documents during the discovery phase, including those that may support the insured's position. This action is required to comply with the rules of civil procedure in Texas and ensures a fair and transparent litigation process. The Texas Rules of Civil Procedure mandate full disclosure of relevant evidence to promote a just resolution of disputes. Withholding information can result in legal penalties and damage the insurer's credibility. Consulting with legal counsel is important, but transparency and compliance with discovery obligations are paramount to maintaining ethical standards and regulatory compliance in surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Question 7. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. Which of the following best practices should be followed during the investigation of a surplus lines insurance claim in Texas? To ensure thoroughness and compliance: A. Only interview the insured and rely solely on their account. B. Collect and review all relevant documents, interview all pertinent parties, and document the investigation process meticulously. C. Rely on secondary sources of information and avoid direct interviews to save time. D. Conclude the investigation as quickly as possible to expedite the claims process, regardless of the evidence collected. Answer: B. Collect and review all relevant documents, interview all pertinent parties, and document the investigation process meticulously. Explanation: in Texas, the thorough and compliant investigation of a surplus lines insurance claim involves collecting and reviewing all relevant documents, interviewing all pertinent parties, including the insured, witnesses, and experts, and meticulously documenting the investigation process. This comprehensive approach ensures that the investigation is fair, unbiased, and adheres to regulatory requirements. The Texas Department of Insurance emphasizes the importance of detailed and impartial investigations to maintain the integrity of the claims process and to protect the rights of all parties involved. Question 8. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. In the context of interpreting policy provisions and coverage limitations in a surplus lines insurance policy in Texas, which principle should guide the adjuster's analysis? A. Policy provisions should be interpreted in the most restrictive manner possible. B. Ambiguities in policy language should be resolved in favor of the insurer. C. The intent of the policyholder at the time of purchasing the policy should be considered. D. The specific wording of the policy should be interpreted based on the plain meaning of the terms. Answer: D. The specific wording of the policy should be interpreted based on the plain meaning of the terms. Explanation: in Texas, the interpretation of policy provisions and coverage limitations in a surplus lines insurance policy should be based on the plain meaning of the terms used in the policy. Courts in Texas adhere to the principle that if policy language is clear and unambiguous, it must be interpreted according to its plain, ordinary meaning. This approach ensures that the policyholder and the insurer both understand the coverage and limitations as they are clearly stated in the policy. If any ambiguity exists, it is generally resolved in favor of the insured, but the first step is always to apply the plain meaning rule. Question 9. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement scenario. Mr. Anderson, a surplus lines insurance adjuster in Texas, is negotiating a settlement for a claim involving significant water damage to a commercial property. The insured, MS Patel, has provided estimates for repair costs, but they are significantly higher than the insurer's assessment. How should Mr. Anderson proceed to reach a fair settlement while ensuring regulatory compliance? A. Accept the insured's estimates without further investigation to expedite the settlement process. B. Reject the insured's estimates outright and proceed with the insurer's lower assessment. C. Engage an independent appraiser to conduct a third-party evaluation and use this as a basis for negotiation. D. Compromise by splitting the difference between the two estimates. Answer: C. Engage an independent appraiser to conduct a third-party evaluation and use this as a basis for negotiation. Explanation: in this scenario, Mr. Anderson should engage an independent appraiser to conduct a third-party evaluation of the repair costs. This approach ensures an unbiased assessment of the damage and repair costs, which can serve as a fair basis for negotiation between the insurer and the insured. It helps in resolving discrepancies between the insured's estimates and the insurer's assessment, ensuring that the settlement is fair and equitable. Additionally, involving an independent appraiser aligns with best practices and regulatory requirements in Texas, as it demonstrates a commitment to impartiality and thoroughness in the claims handling process. Question 10. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Texas. What is a critical step that surplus lines insurers must take when a claim escalates to litigation to manage litigation expenses effectively? A. Avoid any communication with the insured to prevent further disputes. B. Hire the most expensive legal counsel to ensure a favorable outcome. C. Work closely with legal counsel to develop a litigation strategy and budget. D. Delay the litigation process to pressure the insured into selling. Answer: C. Work closely with legal counsel to develop a litigation strategy and budget. Explanation: in Texas, managing litigation expenses effectively involves working closely with legal counsel to develop a clear litigation strategy and budget. This ensures that the insurer has a comprehensive plan that outlines the steps to be taken during litigation, as well as an estimated cost for each phase of the process. By doing so, insurers could control costs, allocate resources efficiently, and make informed decisions throughout the litigation. The Texas Rules of Civil Procedure support proactive and strategic management of litigation to ensure fair and cost-effective resolution of disputes. Question 11. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. When gathering evidence for a surplus lines insurance claim in Texas, which technique is considered best practice to ensure the evidence is reliable and admissible? A. Rely solely on digital evidence collected online. B. Use a combination of physical inspections, expert evaluations, and witness statements. C. Collect evidence only from the insured's provided documents. D. Avoid using outside experts to reduce investigation costs. Answer: B. Use a combination of physical inspections, expert evaluations, and witness statements. Explanation: best practices for gathering evidence in a surplus lines insurance claim in Texas include using a combination of physical inspections, expert evaluations, and witness statements. This comprehensive approach ensures that the evidence is thorough, reliable, and admissible in any potential legal proceedings. Physical inspections provide first-hand observations of the damage, expert evaluations offer professional insights and assessments, and witness statements contribute additional perspectives and details. Adhering to these practices aligns with the Texas Department of Insurance guidelines, which emphasize thorough and impartial claims investigations to maintain integrity and compliance. Question 12. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism scenario. MS. Franklin, the surplus lines claims adjuster in Texas, is handling a claim where there is potential fraud. The insured, Mr. Nguyen, has submitted suspicious documents to support his claim for a stolen vehicle. How should MS. Franklin proceed to ensure ethical conduct and compliance with regulatory requirements? A. Deny the claim immediately based on suspicion alone. B. Ignore the suspicious documents to avoid conflict and settle the claim. C. Conduct a thorough investigation, including verifying the authenticity of the documents and interviewing relevant parties. D. Settle the claim partially acknowledging some documents but not others. Answer. C. Conduct a thorough investigation, including verifying the authenticity of the documents and interviewing relevant parties. Explanation. MS. Franklin should conduct a thorough investigation to verify the authenticity of the documents and interview relevant parties. This approach ensures ethical conduct and compliance with regulatory requirements, as it allows for a fair and impartial assessment of the claim. The Texas Department of Insurance mandates that insurers must handle claims in good faith and with due diligence, which includes investigating potential fraud thoroughly before making a decision. By adhering to these guidelines, MS. Franklin can uphold professional standards and ensure that the claim is resolved justly and transparently. Question 13. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. In Texas, what is a key factor that surplus lines insurers must consider when reserving and estimating claim costs to ensure accuracy and compliance? A. Estimating the claim costs as low as possible to save the insurer money. B. Reserving only for the initial assessment without considering potential future costs. C. Regularly reviewing and adjusting reserves based on new information and developments. D. Reserving the full policy limit for every claim. Answer. C. Regularly reviewing and adjusting reserves based on new information and developments. Explanation. In Texas, a key factor in reserving and estimating claim costs accurately and compliantly is the regular review and adjustment of reserves based on new information and developments. This practice ensures that the reserves reflect the most current and accurate estimate of the insurer's liability, which is critical for financial stability and regulatory compliance. The Texas Department of Insurance requires insurers to maintain adequate reserves and to update them as the claim progresses and new information becomes available. This approach helps in managing the insurer's financial obligations and ensuring that they can meet their commitments to policyholders. Question 14. Surplus lines insurance claims process. What role does effective documentation play in the surplus lines insurance claims process in Texas? A. It minimizes the need for regulatory compliance. B. It serves as evidence to support the claim handling process and decisions made. C. It primarily benefits the insurer by reducing claim payouts. D. It is only necessary when a claim is disputed. Answer. B. It serves as evidence to support the claim handling process and decisions made. Explanation. Effective documentation in the surplus lines insurance claims process in Texas serves as critical evidence to support the entire claim handling process and the decisions made by the insurer. Proper documentation ensures transparency, accountability, and compliance with Texas Department of Insurance regulations. It helps demonstrate that the claim was handled fairly and in good faith, providing a clear record of all communications, investigations, and evaluations related to the claim. This documentation is essential not only in disputed claims but for all claims to ensure that the insurer can defend its actions and decisions if required. Question 15. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism scenario. Mr. Morales, a surplus lines claims adjuster in Texas, is handling a claim for a damaged commercial building. During his investigation, he discovers that his brother-in-law owns the contracting company that is bidding for the repair work. How should Mr. Morales handle this situation to avoid a conflict of interest and adhere to ethical standards? They award the contract to his brother-in-law to keep the business within the family. B. Disclose the potential conflict of interest to his supervisor and recuse himself from the decision-making process. C. Ignore the relationship and proceed as usual, ensuring the bid process is fair. D. Deny the claim to avoid any appearance of favoritism. Answer. B. Disclose the potential conflict of interest to his supervisor and recuse himself from the decision-making process. Explanation. Mr. Morales should disclose the potential conflict of interest to his supervisor and recuse himself from the decision-making process. This action adheres to ethical standards and avoids any appearance of favoritism or bias in the claims handling process. The Texas Department of Insurance emphasizes the importance of maintaining professional integrity and avoiding conflicts of interest in claims handling. By stepping aside and allowing another adjuster to handle the decision, Mr. Morales ensures that the claim is processed impartially and that all parties involved can trust the fairness of the outcome. Question 16. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. When interpreting the policy language of a surplus lines insurance policy in Texas, which of the following is the most important consideration? A. The historical intent of the insurer when drafting the policy. B. The way similar policies are interpreted in other states. C. The reasonable expectations of the insured based on the policy language. D. The strictest possible interpretation of the terms. Answer. C. The reasonable expectations of the insured based on the policy language. Explanation. In Texas, when interpreting the policy language of a surplus lines insurance policy, the most important consideration is the reasonable expectations of the insured based on the policy language. Courts typically aim to honor what a reasonable person in the position of the insured would understand the terms to mean. This principle ensures that the policy is interpreted fairly and that ambiguities are resolved in favor of the insured. The Texas Supreme Court has upheld this approach, emphasizing that insurance policies should be clear and understandable to policyholders. Question 17. Surplus lines insurance claim settlement. Which of the following is a critical component of documenting a settlement agreement in a surplus lines insurance claim in Texas? A. Only noting the final settlement amount. B. Including a detailed account of all negotiations, terms, and the release of liability. C. Excluding the release of liability to avoid legal complications. D. Keeping the settlement agreement verbal to maintain flexibility. Answer. B. Including a detailed account of all negotiations, terms, and the release of liability. Explanation. In Texas, documenting a settlement agreement in a surplus lines insurance claim must include a detailed account of all negotiations, terms, and a release of liability. This documentation ensures that all parties are clear about the terms of the settlement and that the insurer is protected from future claims related to the same incident. According to Texas Insurance Code, it is essential to maintain comprehensive and accurate records of settlement agreements to comply with regulatory requirements and to provide a clear record that can be referenced in case of any disputes or audits. Question 18. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation scenario. MS Bennett, a surplus lines claims adjuster in Texas, is investigating a complex liability claim involving multiple parties and potential subrogation. The insured, Mr. Walker, is being sued for damages following an incident at his business. How should MS Bennett proceed to ensure a thorough investigation and proper handling of potential subrogation rights? A. Focus solely on defending the insured without considering subrogation. B. Investigate the incident comprehensively, gather evidence, and identify potential third parties who may be liable, preserving subrogation rights. C. Settle the claim quickly to avoid litigation costs. D. Delegate the investigation to the insured's legal team and await their findings. Answer. B. Investigate the incident comprehensively, gather evidence, and identify potential third parties who may be liable, preserving subrogation rights. Explanation. MS Bennett should conduct a comprehensive investigation, gathering evidence and identifying any third parties who may be liable to preserve subrogation rights. Subrogation allows the insurer to step into the shoes of the insured and pursue recovery from responsible third parties after compensating the insured for their loss. This approach not only ensures a thorough investigation but also helps the insurer potentially recover some or all of the claim costs, thus reducing overall expenses. The Texas Department of Insurance supports diligent claims investigations and the protection of subrogation rights to ensure that claims are handled fairly and in the insurer's best interests. Question 19. Regulatory compliance in surplus lines claims handling. In Texas, which of the following is a key requirement for surplus lines insurers to maintain compliance with state regulations when handling claims? A. Reporting all claims to the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, NAIC. B. Maintaining detailed records of claims and making them available for state regulatory review. C. Handling claims exclusively through in-house adjusters. D. Settling claims within 30 days, regardless of the complexity. Answer: B. Maintaining detailed records of claims and making them available for state regulatory review. Explanation: in Texas, surplus lines insurers must maintain detailed records of all claims and make these records available for state regulatory review. This requirement ensures transparency and allows the Texas Department of Insurance to monitor the insurer's claims handling practices for compliance with state regulations. Accurate and thorough documentation of claims is essential for demonstrating that the insurer is operating in good faith and adhering to legal and regulatory standards. The Texas Insurance Code mandates this to protect policyholders and maintain the integrity of the insurance market. Question 20. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Which of the following best describes the importance of effective communication in the surplus lines insurance claims process in Texas? A. It reduces the need for thorough documentation. B. It ensures that all parties are informed, misunderstandings are minimized, and the claims process is transparent. C. It primarily benefits the insurer by allowing quicker claim denials. D. It is only necessary during the initial stages of the claims process. Answer: B. It ensures that all parties are informed, misunderstandings are minimized, and the claims process is transparent. Explanation: effective communication in the surplus lines insurance claims process is crucial because it ensures that all parties involved are informed, misunderstandings are minimized, and the claims process is transparent. In Texas, maintaining open lines of communication helps build trust between the insurer and the insured, ensures that the claims process proceeds smoothly, and allows for the timely exchange of necessary information. The Texas Department of Insurance emphasizes the importance of clear and effective communication throughout the entire claims process to ensure fair treatment of policyholders and adherence to regulatory standards. Question 21. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement scenario. Mr. Thompson, a surplus lines claims adjuster in Texas, is negotiating a settlement for a fire damage claim to a warehouse. The insured, Ms. Rivera, is disputing the valuation of her loss, claiming that the settlement offer is too low. How should Mr. Thompson proceed to reach a fair settlement while ensuring compliance with regulatory requirements? A. Stand firm on the original offer to avoid setting a precedent for higher settlements. B. Review the claim file, consider Ms. Rivera's concerns, and potentially seek an independent appraisal to reassess the loss value. C. Immediately increase the settlement offer to avoid further dispute. D. Deny the claim to deter future disputes from other policyholders. Answer: B. Review the claim file, consider Ms. Rivera's concerns, and potentially seek an independent appraisal to reassess the loss value. Explanation: Mr. Thompson should review the claim file, consider Ms. Rivera's concerns, and potentially seek an independent appraisal to reassess the loss value. This approach ensures that the settlement is fair and based on an accurate evaluation of the damages. Engaging an independent appraiser provides an unbiased assessment, which can help resolve disputes and demonstrate the insurer's commitment to fair and transparent claims handling. Compliance with Texas Insurance Code requires insurers to handle claims fairly and in good faith, and this includes considering the insured's concerns and providing a thorough and accurate valuation of the loss. Question 22. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. When managing litigation expenses for surplus lines insurance claims in Texas, what is an essential strategy to control costs and ensure a favorable outcome? A. Hiring multiple law firms to handle different aspects of the case independently. B. Developing a detailed litigation plan and budget with legal counsel and continuously monitoring expenses. C. Limiting communication with legal counsel to reduce billable hours. D. Settling the case as quickly as possible to avoid prolonged litigation. Answer: B. Developing a detailed litigation plan and budget with legal counsel and continuously monitoring expenses. Explanation: an essential strategy for managing litigation expenses in surplus lines insurance claims in Texas involves developing a detailed litigation plan and budget with legal counsel and continuously monitoring expenses. This ensures that the insurer has a clear understanding of the projected costs and can make informed decisions to control expenses throughout the litigation process. Regularly monitoring and adjusting the budget as necessary helps avoid unexpected costs and ensures that resources are used efficiently. The Texas Rules of Civil Procedure encourage proactive and strategic management of litigation to achieve fair and cost-effective resolutions. Question 23. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. In Texas, what is a critical method for evaluating the extent and value of a surplus lines insurance claim accurately? A. Solely relying on the insured's initial loss estimate. B. Using standardized industry tools and techniques to assess the damage and validate the claim. C. Setting a fixed percentage of the policy limit regardless of the actual loss. D. Estimating the loss based on previous similar claims without conducting a new investigation. Answer. B. Using standardized industry tools and techniques to assess the damage and validate the claim. Explanation. A critical method for accurately evaluating the extent and value of a surplus lines insurance claim in Texas is to use standardized industry tools and techniques to assess the damage and validate the claim. These tools and techniques provide objective and consistent methods for measuring the loss, ensuring that the evaluation is thorough and accurate. The Texas Department of Insurance supports the use of such standardized practices to ensure that claims are assessed fairly and consistently, protecting both the insurer and the insured. This approach helps in maintaining the integrity of the claims process and ensuring compliance with regulatory standards. Question 24. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation scenario. MS Delgado, a surplus lines claims adjuster in Texas, is investigating a claim for business interruption due to a natural disaster. The insured, Mr. Harris, claims significant loss of income. What steps should MS Delgado take to ensure a thorough investigation and accurate evaluation of the business interruption claim? A. Accept the insured's income loss estimate without further verification. B. Review the insured's financial records, including income statements and tax returns, and consult with financial experts if necessary. C. Reject the claim if the initial estimate seems too high. D. Focus only on the physical damage to the property and ignore the income loss aspect. Answer. B. Review the insured's financial records, including income statements and tax returns, and consult with financial experts if necessary. Explanation. MS Delgado should review the insured's financial records, including income statements and tax returns, and consult with financial experts if necessary to ensure a thorough investigation and accurate evaluation of the business interruption claim. This comprehensive approach allows for a detailed and accurate assessment of the actual income loss due to the natural disaster. In Texas, the evaluation of business interruption claims requires a careful examination of the insured's financial data to determine the extent of the loss accurately. Consulting with financial experts can provide additional insights and ensure that the claim is evaluated fairly and in compliance with regulatory standards. Question 25. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. In Texas, which ethical consideration is crucial for a claims adjuster handling surplus lines insurance claims to maintain professionalism and compliance? A. Prioritizing the insurer's interests over the insured's to reduce costs. B. Ensuring confidentiality and privacy of the insured's information throughout the claims process. C. Avoiding any communication with the insured to prevent potential conflicts. D. Making settlement decisions based on personal judgment without following regulatory guidelines. Answer. B. Ensuring confidentiality and privacy of the insured's information throughout the claims process. Explanation. Ensuring confidentiality and privacy of the insured's information is a crucial ethical consideration for claims adjusters in Texas. This practice is essential for maintaining professionalism and compliance with regulatory standards. The Texas Department of Insurance mandates that all personal and sensitive information be handled with the utmost confidentiality to protect the insured's privacy and rights. Adhering to these ethical standards helps build trust between the insurer and the insured and ensures that the claims process is conducted with integrity and transparency. Question 26. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Which of the following best describes the purpose of policy exclusions in surplus lines insurance policies in Texas? A. To provide additional coverage beyond what is stated in the policy. B. To limit or exclude certain risks or perils that the insurer is unwilling to cover. C. To confuse policyholders and reduce claims payouts. D. To duplicate coverage provided by standard insurance policies. Answer: B. To limit or exclude certain risks or perils that the insurer is unwilling to cover. Explanation: the purpose of policy exclusions in surplus lines insurance policies in Texas is to limit or exclude certain risks or perils that the insurer is unwilling to cover. Exclusions are clearly defined in the policy to outline the specific circumstances under which coverage will not be provided. This helps manage the insurer's risk exposure and ensures that policyholders understand the scope and limitations of their coverage. The Texas Insurance Code requires that exclusions be clearly stated to avoid ambiguity and ensure transparency in the policy terms. Question 27. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation scenario. Mr. Lee, a surplus lines claims adjuster in Texas, is investigating a liability claim where the insured MS Martinez is alleged to have caused water damage to an adjoining property. How should Mr. Lee proceed to ensure a comprehensive investigation and determine the validity of the claim? A. Accept the allegations at face value and proceed with the claim payout. B. Conduct a detailed investigation, including inspecting the damage, interviewing witnesses, and reviewing any available evidence. C. Deny the claim immediately to avoid potential costs. D. Delegate the investigation to a third party without oversight. Answer: B. Conduct a detailed investigation, including inspecting the damage, interviewing witnesses, and reviewing any available evidence. Explanation: Mr. Lee should conduct a detailed investigation to ensure a comprehensive assessment of the claim's validity. This includes inspecting the damage to both properties, interviewing witnesses, and reviewing any available evidence such as maintenance records, photos, or videos. A thorough investigation helps determine the actual cause and extent of the damage and whether MS Martinez is liable, adhering to the Texas Department of Insurance guidelines, which emphasize diligent and fair claims investigations, ensures that the claim is handled properly and that the insurer's decision is well supported by facts and evidence. Question 28. Surplus lines insurance claims process. In Texas, what is the primary role of effective communication between the claims adjuster and the insured during the surplus lines insurance claims process? A. To expedite the claims process by limiting detailed explanations. B. To ensure all parties are well informed, reducing misunderstandings and fostering trust. C. To pressure the insured into accepting the insurer's initial settlement offer. D. To document only the legal aspects of the claim. Answer: B. To ensure all parties are well informed, reducing misunderstandings and fostering trust. Explanation: the primary role of effective communication between the claims adjuster and the insured during the surplus lines insurance claims process in Texas is to ensure all parties are well informed, reducing misunderstandings and fostering trust. Clear and open communication helps the insured understand the claims process, the basis for any decisions made, and what information or documentation is required. This approach aligns with the Texas Department of Insurance's guidelines for fair and transparent claims handling, which emphasize the importance of maintaining a trustworthy relationship between insurers and policyholders. Question 29. Surplus lines insurance claim settlement. In Texas, which of the following best describes a crucial step in negotiating a settlement agreement for a surplus lines insurance claim? A. Ignoring the insured's perspective to speed up the process. B. Documenting all terms of the agreement, including the release of liability, to avoid future disputes. C. Offering the lowest possible settlement amount initially. D. Settling the claim without written confirmation to avoid delays. Answer: B. Documenting all terms of the agreement, including the release of liability, to avoid future disputes. Explanation: a crucial step in negotiating a settlement agreement for a surplus lines insurance claim in Texas is documenting all terms of the agreement, including the release of liability, to avoid future disputes. Proper documentation ensures that both parties clearly understand the settlement terms, preventing any misunderstandings or potential legal challenges later on. This practice is in line with Texas Insurance Code requirements, which stress the importance of maintaining comprehensive and accurate records of settlement agreements. Documenting the terms also protects the insurer from future claims related to the same incident, ensuring that the settlement is final and legally binding. Question 30. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation scenario. Mr. Hernandez, a surplus lines claims adjuster in Texas, is evaluating a claim for extensive storm damage to a commercial property. The insured, MS Johnson, argues that the entire roof needs to be replaced, while Mr. Hernandez believes only a portion is damaged. How should Mr. Hernandez proceed to reach an accurate evaluation and fair settlement? A. Stand by his initial assessment to minimize costs for the insurer. B. Conduct a thorough inspection, possibly involving a roofing expert to provide an independent evaluation. C. Agree to replace the entire roof to avoid conflict. D. Delay the claim indefinitely until the insured concedes. Answer. B. Conduct a thorough inspection, possibly involving a roofing expert to provide an independent evaluation. Explanation. Mr. Hernandez should conduct a thorough inspection and consider involving a roofing expert to provide an independent evaluation. This approach ensures an accurate assessment of the damage and supports the fair settlement. Utilizing an expert can provide a professional and unbiased opinion on whether the entire roof or only a portion needs replacement. The Texas Department of Insurance advocates for comprehensive evaluations and the use of experts when necessary to ensure that claims are handled fairly and that the insured receives the appropriate compensation for their loss. Question 31. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Texas. What is the role of legal counsel in surplus lines insurance claims litigation? A. To delay the litigation process to increase legal fees. B. To minimize insurers' expenses by avoiding litigation altogether. C. To provide legal expertise and representation to defend insurers' interests in court. D. To settle claims without court involvement to save time. Answer. C. To provide legal expertise and representation to defend insurers' interests in court. Explanation. Legal counsel in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Texas plays a crucial role in providing legal expertise and representation to defend the insurer's interests in court. They ensure that the insurer's position is effectively advocated and that all legal aspects of the case are handled professionally. This includes preparing legal strategies, presenting arguments, and protecting the insurer's rights throughout the litigation process. The involvement of legal counsel helps insurers navigate complex legal proceedings and ensures compliance with Texas laws and regulations governing litigation. Question 32. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. What is a key consideration for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas when managing conflicts of interest? A. Ignoring potential conflicts to expedite claim handling. B. Disclosing conflict promptly and taking appropriate steps to avoid compromising impartiality. C. Using conflicts to negotiate low claim settlements. D. Prioritizing insurers' interests over policyholder concerns. Answer. B. Disclosing conflicts promptly and taking appropriate steps to avoid compromising impartiality. Explanation. A key consideration for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas when managing conflicts of interest is to disclose conflicts promptly and take appropriate steps to avoid compromising impartiality. Transparency is crucial to maintaining trust and ensuring fair treatment of policyholders. By disclosing conflicts, adjusters can mitigate potential biases and uphold ethical standards in claims handling. The Texas Department of Insurance requires adjusters to act with honesty and integrity, avoiding conflicts that could influence their decisions or actions adversely. Question 33. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Which factor is most influential when interpreting ambiguous terms in surplus lines insurance policies in Texas? A. Previous court decisions from other states. B. The insured's subjective interpretation of the terms. C. The insurance agent's understanding of the policy. D. Principles of policy construction and the insured's reasonable expectations. Answer. D. Principles of policy construction and the insured's reasonable expectations. Explanation. When interpreting ambiguous terms in surplus lines insurance policies in Texas, the most influential factor is principles of policy construction and the insured's reasonable expectations. Courts in Texas rely on these principles to resolve ambiguities in favor of the insured, ensuring that the policy is interpreted in a manner that aligns with what a reasonable person in the insured's position would expect. This approach promotes fairness and transparency in insurance contract interpretation, emphasizing the insured's understanding and expectations over other factors like historical intent or subjective interpretations. Question 34. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. In Texas, what is the significance of reserving and estimating claim costs in surplus lines insurance claims? A. To delay claim payments and reduce financial impact on the insurer. B. To ensure accurate financial reporting and compliance with regulatory requirements. C. To minimize claim payouts and maximize insurer profits. D. To expedite the claims process by skipping cost estimation. Answer: B. To ensure accurate financial reporting in compliance with regulatory requirements. Explanation: Reserving and estimating claim costs in surplus lines insurance claims in Texas is crucial to ensure accurate financial reporting in compliance with regulatory requirements. Setting aside appropriate reserves helps insurers maintain financial stability by anticipating future claim payments. It also ensures transparency in financial reporting, demonstrating to regulators and stakeholders that the insurer is adequately prepared to meet its obligations. The Texas Department of Insurance mandates that insurers maintain proper reserves and adhere to financial reporting standards to protect policyholders and maintain market stability. Question 35. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Which principle guides surplus lines insurers in Texas when negotiating settlement agreements? A. Settling claims at the lowest possible amount to minimize costs. B. Adhering strictly to the insurer's initial settlement offer without negotiation. C. Resolving claims promptly to avoid legal complications. D. Engaging in fair and honest negotiations to achieve a reasonable settlement. Answer: D. Engaging in fair and honest negotiations to achieve a reasonable settlement. Explanation: Surplus lines insurers in Texas are guided by the principle of engaging in fair and honest negotiations to achieve a reasonable settlement when negotiating settlement agreements. This principle emphasizes the importance of treating insureds fairly and transparently throughout the claims settlement process. It involves evaluating the merits of the claim, considering relevant evidence, and negotiating in good faith to reach a mutually acceptable resolution. Adhering to this principle helps insurers maintain positive relationships with insureds and uphold ethical standards in claims handling. Question 36. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation scenario. MS. Nguyen, the surplus lines claims adjuster in Texas, is handling a claim involving alleged theft of high-value equipment from a commercial property. What steps should MS. Nguyen take to conduct a thorough investigation and determine coverage? A. Assume the theft occurred as reported and proceed with the claim payout. B. Inspect the property thoroughly, gather evidence of the theft, and review policy terms and exclusions related to theft coverage. C. Deny the claim based on the insured's history of previous claims. D. Refer the investigation to law enforcement without further involvement. Answer: B. Inspect the property thoroughly, gather evidence of the theft, and review policy terms and exclusions related to theft coverage. Explanation: MS. Nguyen should inspect the property thoroughly, gather evidence of the theft, and review policy terms and exclusions related to theft coverage to conduct a thorough investigation. This approach ensures that the claim is evaluated based on objective evidence and policy provisions. Surplus lines insurers in Texas are required to investigate claims diligently and in good faith, considering all relevant facts and policy terms. By conducting a comprehensive investigation, MS. Nguyen can determine the validity of the claim and whether coverage applies according to the terms of the policy. Question 37. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. What ethical consideration is paramount for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas when handling claims involving potential conflicts of interest? A. Ignoring conflicts to expedite claim processing. B. Disclosing conflicts promptly and recusing oneself from handling the claim if necessary. C. Using conflicts to negotiate lower settlements for the insurer. D. Prioritizing insurers' interests over policyholder concerns. Answer: B. Disclosing conflicts promptly and recusing oneself from handling the claim if necessary. Explanation: Surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas must disclose conflicts promptly and recuse themselves from handling the claim if necessary. This ethical practice ensures transparency and avoids compromising the impartiality required to fairly assess claims. By disclosing conflicts and taking appropriate action, Adjusters uphold the trust and integrity of the claims handling process, aligning with regulatory expectations outlined by the Texas Department of Insurance. This approach safeguards policyholder interests and promotes fair treatment in claims settlement. Question 38. Surplus lines insurance claims process. In Texas, why is compliance with regulatory requirements essential during the surplus lines insurance claims process? A. To expedite claim settlements and minimize costs for insurers. B. To ensure policyholders receive fair treatment and protect market stability. C. To bypass legal scrutiny and audits by state regulators. D. To deny claims promptly and reduce insurer liabilities. Answer. B. To ensure policyholders receive fair treatment and protect market stability. Explanation. Compliance with regulatory requirements during the surplus lines insurance claims process in Texas is essential to ensure policyholders receive fair treatment and protect market stability. Regulatory compliance mandates insurers to adhere to specific standards and practices that safeguard policyholder rights, promote transparency, and maintain financial stability within the insurance market. By following regulatory guidelines set forth by the Texas Department of Insurance, insurers demonstrate accountability, integrity, and a commitment to ethical business practices, ultimately fostering trust and confidence among policyholders and stakeholders. Question 39. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement scenario. MS. Parker, a surplus lines claims adjuster in Texas, is negotiating a settlement for a large property damage claim. The insured, Mr. Adams, insists on a higher settlement amount than initially offered. How should MS. Parker handle this situation to achieve a fair and equitable resolution? A. Reject Mr. Adams' counteroffer to maintain the insurer's initial settlement amount. B. Review the claim file, consider Mr. Adams' evidence and valuation, and negotiate in good faith to reach a mutually acceptable settlement. C. Delay the settlement process to pressure Mr. Adams into accepting a lower amount. D. Settle the claim without further negotiation to avoid additional costs. Answer. B. Review the claim file, consider Mr. Adams' evidence and valuation, and negotiate in good faith to reach a mutually acceptable settlement. Explanation. MS. Parker should review the claim file, consider Mr. Adams' evidence and valuation, and negotiate in good faith to reach a mutually acceptable settlement. In Texas, surplus lines insurers are obligated to handle claims fairly and in good faith, which includes considering the insured's perspective and supporting evidence during negotiations. By conducting a thorough review and engaging in honest negotiations, MS. Parker can achieve a fair resolution that reflects the actual damage and meets both parties' expectations. This approach aligns with regulatory expectations and helps maintain positive relationships with insureds. Question 40. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. In Texas, what role does interviewing insureds, witnesses, and other parties play in surplus lines insurance claims investigation? A. It is unnecessary and prolongs the investigation process. B. It helps gather relevant information and perspectives to determine the facts of the claim. C. It increases claim costs and should be avoided. D. It allows adjusters to pressure insureds into accepting low settlements. Answer. B. It helps gather relevant information and perspectives to determine the facts of the claim. Explanation. Interviewing insureds, witnesses, and other parties in Texas plays a critical role in surplus lines insurance claims investigation by helping gather relevant information and perspectives to determine the facts of the claim. This step ensures that the adjuster has a comprehensive understanding of the circumstances surrounding the claim, verifies the details provided, and collects evidence to support the claim decision. The Texas Department of Insurance emphasizes thorough and fair investigations to protect both the insurer's interests and the rights of the insured, promoting transparency and integrity in claims handling. Question 41. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. What is the significance of understanding key terms and definitions in surplus lines insurance policies in Texas? A. To confuse policyholders and discourage claim submissions. B. To limit coverage and increase insurer profitability. C. To accurately interpret the scope of coverage and exclusions. D. To speed up the claims handling process and minimize costs. Answer. C. To accurately interpret the scope of coverage and exclusions. Explanation. Understanding key terms and definitions in surplus lines insurance policies in Texas is significant to accurately interpret the scope of coverage and exclusions. Clear definitions help policyholders understand what risks are covered and excluded under their policy, ensuring they receive the appropriate coverage for their needs. It also enables claims adjusters to assess claims accurately and apply policy provisions correctly. The Texas Insurance Code requires policies to be clear and unambiguous, emphasizing the importance of understanding key terms to avoid disputes and ensure policyholders receive fair treatment. Question 42. Surplus Lines Insurance Claims Evaluation Scenario. NS. Rivera, a surplus lines claims adjuster in Texas, is evaluating a complex liability claim involving multiple parties. What approach should MS. Rivera take to determine coverage and liability accurately? A. Deny coverage to all parties involved to avoid liability disputes. B. Engage in mediation without conducting a thorough investigation. C. Review all available evidence, policy terms, and legal principles to make an informed decision. D. Assign blame without considering evidence. Answer. C. Review all available evidence, policy terms, and legal principles to make an informed decision. Explanation. MS. Rivera should review all available evidence, policy terms, and legal principles to make an informed decision when evaluating a complex liability claim in Texas. This approach ensures a thorough assessment of the facts and circumstances surrounding the claim, including any applicable exclusions or limitations under the policy. By applying legal principles and conducting a comprehensive review, MS. Rivera can determine coverage and liability accurately, aligning with the Texas Department of Insurance's guidelines for fair and equitable claims handling. This method helps protect the interests of both the insurer and the insured, promoting fairness and transparency in the claims evaluation process. Question 43. Surplus Lines Insurance Claims Settlement in Texas. What is the purpose of releasing and documenting settlement agreements in surplus lines insurance claims? A. To delay claim payments and minimize costs for the insurer. B. To ensure transparency and protect both parties from future disputes. C. To avoid settling claims entirely. D. To expedite the claims process without documentation. Answer. B. To ensure transparency and protect both parties from future disputes. Explanation. Releasing and documenting settlement agreements in surplus lines insurance claims in Texas serves the purpose of ensuring transparency and protecting both parties from future disputes. By documenting the terms of the settlement agreement, including any releases of liability, insurers and insureds have a clear record of the agreed-upon terms. This documentation helps prevent misunderstandings and legal challenges that could arise after the settlement. It also supports compliance with regulatory requirements and promotes fair and ethical claims settlement practices outlined by the Texas Department of Insurance. Documenting settlements ensures that both parties understand their obligations and rights, fostering trust and accountability in the claims handling process. Question 44. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. What alternative dispute resolution method is commonly used to resolve surplus lines insurance claims disputes in Texas? A. Delaying litigation indefinitely. B. Mediation. C. Rejecting all claims outright. D. Increasing legal costs unnecessarily. Answer. B. Mediation. Explanation. Mediation is a commonly used alternative dispute resolution method to resolve surplus lines insurance claims disputes in Texas. Mediation involves a neutral third party facilitating negotiations between the insurer and the insured to reach a mutually acceptable resolution. It is a voluntary and informal process aimed at avoiding the time and expense of litigation while promoting open communication and compromise. Mediation allows both parties to discuss their perspectives, explore potential solutions, and work towards resolving the dispute outside of court. This approach aligns with Texas Department of Insurance guidelines, which encourage insurers to consider alternative dispute resolution methods to efficiently and effectively resolve claims disputes. Question 45. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. What is a critical aspect of handling conflicts of interest in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Texas? A. Ignoring conflicts to expedite claim processing. B. Disclosing conflicts promptly and taking appropriate steps to avoid compromising impartiality. C. Using conflicts to pressure insureds into accepting lower settlements. D. Prioritizing insurers' interests over policyholder concerns. Answer. B. Disclosing conflicts promptly and taking appropriate steps to avoid compromising impartiality. Explanation: a critical aspect of handling conflicts of interest in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Texas is disclosing conflicts promptly and taking appropriate steps to avoid compromising impartiality. This ethical practice ensures transparency and fairness throughout the claims process by acknowledging potential biases and taking measures to mitigate them. By disclosing conflicts and refraining from handling claims where impartiality cannot be maintained, claims adjusters uphold the integrity of the claims handling process and comply with regulatory standards set by the Texas Department of Insurance. This approach helps build trust with policyholders and promotes ethical conduct in insurance operations. Question 46. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. What methods do surplus lines insurers in Texas use to evaluate the extent and value of a claim? A. Relying solely on insured's estimates to expedite the process. B. Utilizing loss adjustment techniques and tools to assess damages. C. Denying claims without evaluating evidence. D. Increasing premiums for all policyholders. Answer: B. Utilizing loss adjustment techniques and tools to assess damages. Explanation: surplus lines insurers in Texas utilize loss adjustment techniques and tools to assess the extent and value of a claim accurately. These techniques involve employing qualified adjusters who evaluate damages based on objective evidence, such as site inspections, expert opinions, and industry standards. By utilizing such methods, insurers can make informed decisions on coverage and liability, ensuring fair treatment of policyholders. This practice aligns with regulatory expectations outlined by the Texas Department of Insurance, emphasizing the importance of thorough claims evaluation to uphold the integrity of the insurance industry. Question 47. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Why is effective communication essential between all stakeholders during the surplus lines insurance claims process in Texas? A. To exclude insureds from claim discussions. B. To expedite claim denials without explanation. C. To minimize claim payouts and maximize insurer profits. D. To ensure transparency, reduce misunderstandings, and build trust. Answer: D. To ensure transparency, reduce misunderstandings, and build trust. Explanation: effective communication between all stakeholders during the surplus lines insurance claims process in Texas is crucial to ensure transparency, reduce misunderstandings, and build trust. Clear communication helps insureds understand the claims process, their rights, and the insurer's decisions. It also allows insurers to gather necessary information, address concerns promptly, and maintain positive relationships with policyholders. The Texas Department of Insurance encourages open communication as a fundamental principle in fair claims handling, promoting ethical conduct and customer satisfaction within the insurance industry. Question 48. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. What steps should surplus lines insurers in Texas take to manage litigation expenses effectively? A. Delaying the litigation process to increase expenses. B. Working with legal counsel to minimize expenses and resolve disputes efficiently. C. Rejecting all claims to avoid litigation altogether. D. Filing lawsuits without evidence. Answer: B. Working with legal counsel to minimize expenses and resolve disputes efficiently. Explanation: surplus lines insurers in Texas should work with legal counsel to minimize litigation expenses and resolve disputes efficiently. Legal counsel helps insurers navigate complex legal proceedings, negotiate settlements, and protect their interests in court. By collaborating with experienced attorneys, insurers can develop cost-effective strategies, manage litigation risks, and achieve favorable outcomes while adhering to regulatory requirements. This approach promotes responsible claims management and supports the insurer's commitment to ethical conduct and customer satisfaction in the surplus lines insurance market. Question 49. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. What ethical considerations should surplus lines claims adjusters prioritize when handling confidential information in Texas? A. Sharing confidential information with unauthorized parties to expedite claims processing. B. Ensuring confidentiality and respecting privacy requirements outlined by regulatory guidelines. C. Using confidential information to negotiate lower settlements. D. Ignoring confidentiality to avoid delays in claim settlements. Answer: B. Ensuring confidentiality and respecting privacy requirements outlined by regulatory guidelines. Explanation: Surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas should prioritize ensuring confidentiality and respecting privacy requirements outlined by regulatory guidelines when handling confidential information. Protecting the confidentiality of policyholder information is essential to maintaining trust and complying with legal obligations. Adhering to these ethical standards helps prevent unauthorized disclosure of sensitive information and safeguards policyholder privacy. The Texas Department of Insurance mandates that insurers and adjusters handle confidential information responsibly to maintain the integrity of the claims process and uphold consumer protection standards. Question 50. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Why is it important for surplus lines insurers in Texas to comply with fair claims practices and consumer protection laws during the settlement process? A. To delay settlements and reduce payouts. B. To minimize policyholder benefits and maximize insurer profits. C. To ensure fair treatment of policyholders and maintain compliance with regulatory requirements. D. To expedite settlements without proper evaluation. Answer: C. To ensure fair treatment of policyholders and maintain compliance with regulatory requirements. Explanation: surplus lines insurers in Texas must comply with fair claims practices and consumer protection laws during the settlement process to ensure fair treatment of policyholders and maintain compliance with regulatory requirements. These laws establish standards for claims handling, including timely investigations, fair evaluations, and prompt payment of claims. Adhering to fair claims practices helps insurers build trust with policyholders, mitigate legal risks, and uphold ethical standards in the insurance industry. The Texas Department of Insurance enforces these regulations to protect consumers and promote integrity within the surplus lines insurance market. Question 51. Surplus lines insurance claims process. What role does effective documentation play in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Texas? A. It is unnecessary and delays claim processing. B. It helps ensure transparency, accuracy, and compliance with regulatory requirements. C. It increases claim costs and should be avoided. D. It limits policyholder benefits and protects insurer profits. Answer: B. It helps ensure transparency, accuracy, and compliance with regulatory requirements. Explanation: effective documentation plays a crucial role in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Texas by ensuring transparency, accuracy, and compliance with regulatory requirements. Proper documentation includes recording claim details, communications, and decisions made throughout the claims process. It serves as a valuable record that can be reviewed to verify information, support claim decisions, and demonstrate compliance with legal standards. The Texas Department of Insurance emphasizes the importance of thorough documentation to protect policyholders' interests, maintain market stability, and facilitate effective claims management practices within the surplus lines insurance sector. Question 52. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. What are the key benefits of utilizing outside experts and specialists in surplus lines insurance claims investigation in Texas? A. To increase claim costs and prolong the investigation. B. To expedite claim settlements without expert opinions. C. To gather specialized knowledge and expertise to evaluate complex claims. D. To deny claims based on expert opinions. Answer: C. To gather specialized knowledge and expertise to evaluate complex claims. Explanation: utilizing outside experts and specialists in surplus lines insurance claims investigation in Texas provides significant benefits by gathering specialized knowledge and expertise to evaluate complex claims. These experts, such as forensic accountants, engineers, or legal consultants, offer valuable insights and objective assessments that help insurers make informed decisions. Their involvement enhances the accuracy of claim evaluations, supports proper coverage determinations, and ensures compliance with regulatory requirements. This approach promotes thorough and fair claims handling practices, demonstrating the insurer's commitment to delivering quality service and protecting policyholder interests. Question 53. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. What is the role of legal counsel in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Texas? A. To delay litigation to increase legal fees. B. To minimize insurers' expenses by avoiding litigation altogether. C. To provide legal expertise and representation to defend insurers' interests in court. D. To settle claims without court involvement to save time. Answer: C. To provide legal expertise and representation to defend insurers' interests in court. Explanation. Legal counsel plays a critical role in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Texas by providing legal expertise and representation to defend insurers' interests in court. They are responsible for developing legal strategies, presenting arguments, and advocating for the insurer's position during litigation proceedings. By engaging skilled attorneys, insurers can navigate complex legal challenges, protect their rights, and achieve favorable outcomes. This approach ensures compliance with legal requirements and enhances the insurer's ability to manage litigation risks effectively, promoting fairness and integrity in surplus lines claims resolution. Question 54. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Why is negotiation an important skill for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas when settling claims? A. To delay settlements and minimize payouts. B. To expedite settlements without negotiation. C. To achieve fair and equitable resolutions that balance the interests of both parties. D. To reject all claims outright. Answer. C. To achieve fair and equitable resolutions that balance the interests of both parties. Explanation. Negotiation is an important skill for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas when settling claims because it allows them to achieve fair and equitable resolutions that balance the interests of both parties involved. By negotiating in good faith, adjusters can consider the merits of the claim, evaluate evidence, and collaborate with insureds to reach mutually acceptable agreements. This approach promotes transparency, fosters positive relationships with policyholders, and supports ethical claims handling practices. The Texas Department of Insurance encourages insurers to use negotiation as a tool to resolve disputes effectively, ensuring that policyholders receive timely and equitable settlements based on their coverage and circumstances. Question 55. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Why is it important for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas to interpret policy language and exclusions accurately? A. To deny claims based on ambiguous policy terms. B. To expedite claim processing without reviewing policy details. C. To determine coverage and exclusions correctly, ensuring fair claims handling. D. To increase insurer profits by limiting coverage. Answer. C. To determine coverage and exclusions correctly, ensuring fair claims handling. Explanation. Interpreting policy language and exclusions accurately is crucial for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas to determine coverage and exclusions correctly, ensuring fair claims handling. By understanding the policy terms, adjusters can apply them appropriately to each claim, making fair and consistent decisions. This approach aligns with regulatory requirements and ethical standards outlined by the Texas Department of Insurance, which emphasize the importance of clarity and transparency in insurance policies. Accurate interpretation helps protect both the insurer and the insured by avoiding disputes over coverage and ensuring policyholders receive the benefits they are entitled to under their policy. Question 56. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. What role does handling conflicts of interest play in maintaining ethical standards in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Texas? A. Ignoring conflicts to expedite claim processing. B. Disclosing conflicts promptly and managing them to avoid bias. C. Using conflicts to pressure insureds into accepting lower settlements. D. Prioritizing insurers' interests over policyholder concerns. Answer. B. Disclosing conflicts promptly and managing them to avoid bias. Explanation. Handling conflicts of interest plays a critical role in maintaining ethical standards in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Texas by disclosing conflicts promptly and managing them to avoid bias. Disclosing conflicts ensures transparency and helps prevent any potential conflicts from influencing claim decisions unfairly. Surplus lines claims adjusters are expected to manage conflicts responsibly, recusing themselves from handling claims if necessary and maintaining impartiality throughout the claims process. This ethical practice supports trust and integrity in insurance operations, aligning with regulatory expectations and protecting policyholder interests. Question 57. Surplus lines insurance claims process. What are the consequences of non-compliance with regulatory requirements in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Texas? A. Expedited claim settlements and increased customer satisfaction. B. Fines, penalties, and regulatory sanctions against the insurer. C. Reduced claim payouts to policyholders. D. Decreased market competition and higher premiums. Answer. B. Fines, penalties, and regulatory sanctions against the insurer. Explanation. Non-compliance with regulatory requirements in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Texas can result in fines, penalties, and regulatory sanctions against the insurer. Regulatory compliance is essential to protect policyholders, maintain market stability, and uphold ethical standards in the insurance industry. The Texas Department of Insurance sets forth guidelines and regulations that insurers must follow to ensure fair claims practices, timely claim resolution, and proper handling of policyholder funds. Failing to comply with these requirements can lead to legal consequences and damage the insurer's reputation. Therefore, insurers must prioritize compliance to mitigate risks and maintain their license to operate in the surplus lines market. Question 58. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. What factors should surplus lines claims adjusters consider when negotiating a settlement agreement in Texas? A. Ignoring policyholder expectations to minimize claim costs. B. Evaluating evidence, policy terms, and fair compensation for damages. C. Rejecting all settlement offers to avoid payouts. D. Setting arbitrary settlement amounts without justification. Answer: B. Evaluating evidence, policy terms, and fair compensation for damages. Explanation: surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas should consider evaluating evidence, policy terms, and fair compensation for damages when negotiating a settlement agreement. This approach ensures that settlements are based on objective criteria, such as the extent of damages, coverage provisions, and legal considerations. By reviewing all relevant factors, adjusters can reach a fair and equitable resolution that meets the insured's needs while aligning with regulatory standards. It also promotes transparency and fairness in claims handling, supporting the insurer's commitment to ethical practices and customer satisfaction. Question 59. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. How should surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas handle conflicts of interest when handling claims involving family members or close associates? A. Deny claims to avoid conflict of interest. B. Disclose conflicts promptly and recuse oneself from handling the claim if necessary. C. Use conflicts to negotiate lower settlements. D. Ignore conflicts to expedite the claims process. Answer: B. Disclose conflicts promptly and recuse oneself from handling the claim if necessary. Explanation: surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas should disclose conflicts promptly and recuse themselves from handling claims involving family members or close associates if necessary. This ethical practice ensures transparency and impartiality in claims handling, avoiding any perception of bias or unfair treatment. By disclosing conflicts and taking appropriate action, adjusters uphold the integrity of the claims process and comply with regulatory expectations set by the Texas Department of Insurance. This approach protects both the insurer and the insured, promoting trust and confidence in the insurance industry. Question 60. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. What role does reserving play in surplus lines insurance claims evaluation in Texas? A. Denying claims based on arbitrary reserve amounts. B. Setting reserves to ensure accurate financial reporting and claim settlement planning. C. Ignoring reserve requirements to expedite claim processing. D. Decreasing reserves to minimize claim payouts. Answer: B. Setting reserves to ensure accurate financial reporting and claim settlement planning. Explanation: reserving plays a crucial role in surplus lines insurance claims evaluation in Texas by setting reserves to ensure accurate financial reporting and claim settlement planning. Insurers establish reserves based on their assessment of potential claim costs, including anticipated payments for damages and expenses. Setting appropriate reserves supports financial stability, regulatory compliance, and effective claims management. It helps insurers plan for future liabilities, maintain solvency, and meet obligations to policyholders. The Texas Department of Insurance mandates insurers to maintain adequate reserves to protect policyholder interests and uphold market integrity, emphasizing the importance of prudent reserve practices in surplus lines insurance. Question 61. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. What are the primary responsibilities of surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas during the investigation phase of a claim? A. Denying claims without conducting investigations. B. Interviewing insureds and witnesses to gather facts and evidence. C. Delaying investigations to avoid claim resolutions. D. Ignoring policy provisions during investigations. Answer: B. Interviewing insureds and witnesses to gather facts and evidence. Explanation: Surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas have the primary responsibility during the investigation phase of a claim to interview insureds and witnesses to gather facts and evidence. This step is crucial for understanding the circumstances surrounding the claim, verifying details, and collecting necessary information to make informed decisions. By conducting thorough investigations, adjusters ensure compliance with regulatory requirements and policy provisions, facilitating fair and prompt claim resolutions. The Texas Department of Insurance emphasizes the importance of diligent claims investigations to protect policyholder rights and maintain market integrity. Question 62. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. Why is it essential for surplus lines insurers in Texas to accurately evaluate the extent and value of claims? A. To delay claim settlements and maximize insurer profits. B. To expedite claim denials without proper evaluation. C. To ensure fair treatment of policyholders in compliance with regulatory standards. D. To increase premiums for policyholders. Answer. C. To ensure fair treatment of policyholders in compliance with regulatory standards. Explanation. Accurately evaluating the extent and value of claims is essential for surplus lines insurers in Texas to ensure fair treatment of policyholders in compliance with regulatory standards. Proper evaluation helps insurers determine the appropriate amount of coverage and liability based on the facts and evidence gathered during the claims process. By adhering to rigorous evaluation practices, insurers uphold transparency and integrity in claims handling, fostering trust with policyholders and regulatory authorities. This approach supports ethical conduct and regulatory compliance within the surplus lines insurance market. Question 63. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. How do surplus lines insurers in Texas negotiate settlement agreements to resolve claims effectively? A. Ignoring policyholder concerns to minimize settlements. B. Engaging in mediation without considering policy provisions. C. Using negotiation techniques to reach mutually acceptable resolutions. D. Rejecting all settlement offers to avoid payouts. Answer. C. Using negotiation techniques to reach mutually acceptable resolutions. Explanation. Surplus lines insurers in Texas negotiate settlement agreements to resolve claims effectively by using negotiation techniques to reach mutually acceptable resolutions. Negotiation involves discussions between insurers and policyholders to address concerns, evaluate evidence, and agree on compensation for damages covered under the policy. By engaging in good faith negotiations, insurers can achieve fair and equitable outcomes that satisfy the interests of both parties. This approach supports ethical claims handling practices and promotes customer satisfaction, demonstrating the insurer's commitment to resolving claims promptly and fairly within the surplus lines insurance market. Question 64. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. What ethical considerations should surplus lines claims adjusters prioritize when handling claims in Texas? A. Expediting claim denials to minimize insurer costs. B. Ensuring transparency, fairness, and respect for policyholder rights. C. Ignoring regulatory guidelines to expedite claim processing. D. Maximizing claim payouts at the expense of insurer profitability. Answer. B. Ensuring transparency, fairness, and respect for policyholder rights. Explanation. Surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas should prioritize ensuring transparency, fairness, and respect for policyholder rights when handling claims. Ethical conduct involves adhering to regulatory guidelines, communicating openly with policyholders, and making decisions based on factual evidence and policy provisions. By maintaining integrity throughout the claims process, adjusters uphold trust with policyholders and promote confidence in the insurance industry. The Texas Department of Insurance emphasizes ethical standards to protect consumers and ensure equitable treatment in surplus lines insurance claims handling. Question 65. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Why is effective communication crucial during the surplus lines insurance claims process in Texas? A. To exclude insureds from claim discussions. B. To expedite claim denials without explanation. C. To minimize claim payouts and maximize insurer profits. D. To ensure clarity, understanding, and trust between all parties. Answer. D. To ensure clarity, understanding, and trust between all parties. Explanation. Effective communication is crucial during the surplus lines insurance claims process in Texas to ensure clarity, understanding, and trust between all parties involved. Clear communication helps insureds understand the claims process, their rights, and the insurer's decisions. It also allows insurers to gather necessary information, address concerns promptly, and maintain positive relationships with policyholders. By fostering open communication, adjusters can mitigate misunderstandings, facilitate efficient claims handling, and uphold ethical standards outlined by the Texas Department of Insurance. This approach promotes transparency and customer satisfaction within the surplus lines insurance market. Question 66. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. What role does documentation play in surplus lines insurance claims settlement in Texas? A. It is unnecessary and delays claim processing. B. It helps ensure transparency, accuracy, and compliance with regulatory requirements. C. It increases claim costs and should be avoided. D. It limits policyholder benefits and protects insurer profits. Answer. B. It helps ensure transparency, accuracy, and compliance with regulatory requirements. Explanation. Documentation plays a crucial role in surplus lines insurance claims settlement in Texas by helping ensure transparency, accuracy, and compliance with regulatory requirements. Proper documentation includes recording claim details, communications, and decisions made throughout the claims process. It serves as a valuable record that can be reviewed to verify information, support claim decisions, and demonstrate compliance with legal standards. The Texas Department of Insurance emphasizes the importance of thorough documentation to protect policyholders' interests, maintain market stability, and facilitate effective claims management practices within the surplus lines insurance sector. Question 67. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. What methods can surplus lines insurers in Texas use to determine coverage and liability in complex claims? A. Relying solely on insured statements without investigation. B. Utilizing loss adjustment techniques and expert opinions. C. Denying claims without reviewing policy provisions. D. Increasing premiums for all policyholders. Answer. B. Utilizing loss adjustment techniques and expert opinions. Explanation. Surplus lines insurers in Texas use loss adjustment techniques and expert opinions to determine coverage and liability in complex claims. These methods involve assessing the extent of damages, investigating the circumstances of the claim, and consulting with professionals, such as engineers or legal experts. By utilizing these techniques, insurers ensure thorough evaluation of claims, accurate determination of coverage, and fair settlement for policyholders. This approach aligns with regulatory requirements set by the Texas Department of Insurance, emphasizing the importance of objective assessments and expert analysis in claims handling to uphold industry standards and protect consumer interests. Question 68. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. What steps should surplus lines insurers in Texas take to manage litigation expenses effectively? A. Delaying litigation to increase legal fees. B. Working with legal counsel to minimize expenses and resolve disputes efficiently. C. Rejecting all claims to avoid litigation altogether. D. Filing lawsuits without evidence. Answer. B. Working with legal counsel to minimize expenses and resolve disputes efficiently. Explanation. Surplus lines insurers in Texas should work with legal counsel to minimize litigation expenses and resolve disputes efficiently. Legal counsel assists insurers in developing strategies, negotiating settlements, and navigating legal proceedings to achieve cost-effective outcomes. By collaborating with experienced attorneys, insurers can manage litigation risks, protect their interests, and uphold ethical standards in claims resolution. This approach supports fair and timely dispute resolution, aligning with regulatory expectations outlined by the Texas Department of Insurance. Effective management of litigation expenses ensures financial stability and promotes trust within the surplus lines insurance market. Question 69. Surplus lines insurance claims process. How do surplus lines insurers in Texas ensure compliance with fair claims practices and consumer protection laws during the claims process? A. Ignoring policyholder rights to expedite claims handling. B. Implementing thorough claims investigations and timely claim resolutions. C. Denying claims without providing reasons to policyholders. D. Increasing premiums for all policyholders. Answer. B. Implementing thorough claims investigations and timely claim resolutions. Explanation. Surplus lines insurers in Texas ensure compliance with fair claims practices and consumer protection laws by implementing thorough claims investigations and timely claim resolutions. This approach involves conducting prompt investigations, evaluating evidence objectively, and communicating effectively with policyholders throughout the claims process. By adhering to fair claims practices, insurers demonstrate commitment to transparency, fairness, and ethical conduct as mandated by regulatory guidelines. The Texas Department of Insurance oversees compliance with consumer protection laws to safeguard policyholder rights, promote industry integrity, and maintain public trust in the surplus lines insurance market. Question 70. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. What are the key responsibilities of surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas when gathering and evaluating evidence for a claim? A. Delaying evidence collection to prolong claim processing. B. Using evidence selectively to deny claims without justification. C. Conducting thorough investigations and documenting findings accurately. D. Ignoring policy provisions during evidence evaluation. Answer. C. Conducting thorough investigations and documenting findings accurately. Explanation. Surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas are responsible for conducting thorough investigations and documenting findings accurately when gathering and evaluating evidence for a claim. This includes interviewing witnesses, reviewing documents, and assessing damages to determine the validity and extent of the claim. By following a structured approach to evidence collection, adjusters ensure fairness and compliance with regulatory standards set by the Texas Department of Insurance. Proper documentation supports transparency, facilitates informed decision-making, and enhances the credibility of claim evaluations, ultimately promoting trust and satisfaction among policyholders. Question 71. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Why is it important for surplus lines insurers in Texas to negotiate settlement agreements in good faith? A. To delay settlements and increase insurer profits. B. To minimize payouts and avoid fair compensation for policyholders. C. To achieve fair and equitable resolutions that meet policyholder needs. D. To reject all settlement offers and proceed to litigation. Answer. C. To achieve fair and equitable resolutions that meet policyholder needs. Explanation. It is important for surplus lines insurers in Texas to negotiate settlement agreements in good faith to achieve fair and equitable resolutions that meet policyholder needs. Negotiating in good faith involves honest discussions, considering all relevant factors, and reaching agreements that are mutually acceptable and beneficial. By prioritizing fair compensation and timely settlements, insurers uphold ethical standards and maintain positive relationships with policyholders. This approach supports consumer protection laws and regulatory expectations outlined by the Texas Department of Insurance, ensuring that insurers act responsibly and transparently in claims settlement processes. Question 72. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. How do surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas maintain confidentiality and privacy requirements during claims handling? A. Sharing claim details with unauthorized parties to expedite processing. B. Ignoring confidentiality guidelines to increase transparency. C. Ensuring secure handling of confidential information and disclosing it only to authorized parties. D. Using confidential information to negotiate lower settlements. Answer. C. Ensuring secure handling of confidential information and disclosing it only to authorized parties. Explanation. Surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas maintain confidentiality and privacy requirements during claims handling by ensuring secure handling of confidential information and disclosing it only to authorized parties. This ethical practice protects policyholder privacy, prevents unauthorized disclosure, and complies with regulatory guidelines set by the Texas Department of Insurance. Adjusters are responsible for safeguarding sensitive information throughout the claims process, maintaining trust with policyholders, and upholding professional standards. By adhering to confidentiality requirements, insurers demonstrate commitment to ethical conduct and consumer protection, contributing to a fair and transparent insurance market environment. Question 73. Surplus lines insurance claims policy analysis. Why is it important for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas to understand key terms and definitions in insurance policies? A. To deny claims based on ambiguous policy language. B. To expedite claim processing without policy review. C. To accurately interpret policy provisions and determine coverage. D. To increase premiums for policyholders. Answer: C. To accurately interpret policy provisions and determine coverage. Explanation: understanding key terms and definitions in insurance policies is crucial for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas to accurately interpret policy provisions and determine coverage. By familiarizing themselves with the terminology used in insurance policies, adjusters can apply policy terms correctly to each claim, ensuring consistency and fairness in claims handling. This approach helps prevent misunderstandings and disputes over coverage, aligning with regulatory expectations outlined by the Texas Department of Insurance. Accurate interpretation of policy language enables adjusters to make informed decisions, protect policyholder rights, and uphold ethical standards within the surplus lines insurance market. Question 74. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. How do surplus lines insurers in Texas utilize loss adjustment techniques to evaluate the value of a claim? A. Ignoring evidence to expedite claim settlements. B. Consulting with experts and conducting thorough investigations. C. Denying claims based on arbitrary assessments. D. Delaying claim evaluations to increase insurer profits. Answer: B. Consulting with experts and conducting thorough investigations. Explanation: surplus lines insurers in Texas utilize loss adjustment techniques by consulting with experts and conducting thorough investigations to evaluate the value of a claim. This involves assessing damages, reviewing policy terms, and gathering evidence to determine the extent of coverage and liability. By utilizing expert opinions and objective assessments, insurers ensure fair and accurate claim evaluations, supporting ethical claims handling practices. The Texas Department of Insurance encourages insurers to use these techniques to protect policyholder interests, maintain market stability, and comply with regulatory requirements. Effective use of loss adjustment techniques enhances claims resolution efficiency and promotes customer satisfaction within the surplus lines insurance sector. Question 75. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. What role does alternative dispute resolution ADA play in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Texas? A. Expediting litigation to avoid settlement discussions. B. Ignoring ADR options to prolong legal proceedings. C. Providing a cost-effective and timely alternative to traditional litigation. D. Rejecting all settlement offers to proceed to trial. Answer: C. Providing a cost-effective and timely alternative to traditional litigation. Explanation: alternative dispute resolution ADA plays a significant role in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Texas by providing a cost-effective and timely alternative to traditional litigation. ADR methods, such as mediation or arbitration, allow insurers and policyholders to resolve disputes outside of court, facilitating quicker resolutions and reducing litigation expenses. By opting for ADR, parties can collaborate in a less adversarial setting, negotiate settlements, and maintain control over the outcome of the dispute. The Texas Department of Insurance encourages the use of ADR to promote efficiency, fairness, and flexibility in claims resolution, supporting industry best practices and enhancing consumer satisfaction in the surplus lines insurance market. Question 76. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. What ethical considerations should surplus lines claims adjusters prioritize when handling claims involving high-value losses in Texas? A. Minimizing claim payouts to maximize insurer profits. B. Ensuring transparency, fairness, and timely communication with policyholders. C. Denying claims without conducting thorough investigations. D. Delaying claims processing to avoid legal scrutiny. Answer: B. Ensuring transparency, fairness, and timely communication with policyholders. Explanation: surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas should prioritize ensuring transparency, fairness, and timely communication with policyholders when handling claims involving high-value losses. Ethical conduct requires adjusters to provide clear explanations of claim decisions, maintain open lines of communication, and treat policyholders with respect and fairness throughout the claims process. By upholding these ethical standards, the adjusters protect policyholder interests, comply with regulatory requirements set by the Texas Department of Insurance, and enhance trust in the insurance industry. Handling high-value losses ethically also contributes to maintaining market stability and promoting positive insurer-policyholder relationships. Question 77. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. How do surplus lines insurers in Texas ensure compliance with regulatory requirements during the claims settlement process? A. Delaying claim resolutions to avoid regulatory scrutiny. B. Following established guidelines and documenting settlement agreements. C. Denying all settlement offers to maximize insurer profits. D. Increasing premiums for policyholders. Answer: B. Following established guidelines and documenting settlement agreements. Explanation: surplus lines insurers in Texas ensure compliance with regulatory requirements during the claims settlement process by following established guidelines and documenting settlement agreements. This involves adhering to fair claims practices, verifying claim details, and maintaining accurate records of settlements. By documenting the settlement process, insurers demonstrate transparency, facilitate regulatory audits, and protect policyholder rights as mandated by the Texas Department of Insurance. Compliance with regulatory requirements promotes market integrity, reinforces insurer credibility, and fosters consumer confidence in the surplus lines insurance sector. Effective claims settlement practices uphold industry standards and support ethical conduct in insurance operations. Question 78. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Why is it important for surplus lines insurers in Texas to comply with fair claims practices when handling policyholder claims? A. To deny claims without proper investigation. B. To expedite claim denials and reduce claim payouts. C. To ensure policyholder rights are protected and claims are handled fairly. D. To increase administrative costs and delay claim processing. Answer: C. To ensure policyholder rights are protected and claims are handled fairly. Explanation: it is important for surplus lines insurers in Texas to comply with fair claims practices when handling policyholder claims to ensure policyholder rights are protected and claims are handled fairly. Fair claims practices involve treating policyholders with honesty, integrity, and respect throughout the claims process. Insurers must conduct thorough investigations, provide timely responses, and communicate clearly with policyholders to uphold these standards. Compliance with fair claims practices regulations as mandated by the Texas Department of Insurance promotes trust and transparency in insurance operations, mitigates disputes, and enhances overall customer satisfaction. By prioritizing fair treatment, insurers maintain regulatory compliance, protect their reputation, and foster positive relationships with policyholders and stakeholders in the surplus lines insurance market. Question 79. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. What steps should surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas take to ensure thorough claims investigations? A. Skipping interviews with witnesses to expedite the process. B. Gathering and evaluating evidence objectively and comprehensively. C. Delaying investigations to discourage claimants. D. Ignoring policy provisions during investigations. Answer: B. Gathering and evaluating evidence objectively and comprehensively. Explanation: surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas should ensure thorough claims investigations by gathering and evaluating evidence objectively and comprehensively. This involves conducting interviews with witnesses, reviewing relevant documents, and assessing the extent of damages to determine the validity of the claim. By following a structured approach to investigations, adjusters can make informed decisions based on factual evidence and policy provisions, ensuring fairness and compliance with regulatory standards set by the Texas Department of Insurance. Thorough investigations also facilitate accurate claim evaluations and prompt resolution, supporting ethical claims handling practices within the surplus lines insurance market. Question 80. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. How do surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas handle conflicts of interest effectively during claims handling? A. Concealing conflicts of interest to expedite claim processing. B. Disclosing conflicts promptly and taking appropriate action as necessary. C. Ignoring conflicts to prioritize insurer interests over policyholder rights. D. Using conflicts of interest to negotiate low claim settlements. Answer: B. Disclosing conflicts promptly and taking appropriate action as necessary. Explanation: surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas handle conflicts of interest effectively during claims handling by disclosing conflicts promptly and taking appropriate action as necessary. This ethical practice involves identifying potential conflicts, such as personal relationships or financial interests, and disclosing them to ensure transparency and impartiality in decision-making. Justers should recuse themselves from handling claims if conflicts cannot be managed effectively, aligning with ethical standards and regulatory expectations outlined by the Texas Department of Insurance. By prioritizing policyholder interests and maintaining integrity, adjusters uphold trust in the claims process and demonstrate professionalism in the surplus lines insurance industry. Question 81. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. What are the benefits of using mediation to resolve surplus lines insurance claims disputes in Texas? A. Protracting disputes to increase legal fees. B. Facilitating cooperative negotiations and reaching mutually acceptable resolutions. C. Denying all settlement offers to avoid payouts. D. Increasing premiums for policyholders. Answer: B. Facilitating cooperative negotiations and reaching mutually acceptable resolutions. Explanation: the benefits of using mediation to resolve surplus lines insurance claims disputes in Texas include facilitating cooperative negotiations and reaching mutually acceptable resolutions. Mediation allows insurers and policyholders to discuss their concerns in a neutral setting facilitated by a mediator. This process promotes open communication, explores potential solutions, and fosters agreements that are beneficial to both parties. By engaging in mediation, insurers can resolve disputes efficiently, reduce litigation costs, and maintain positive relationships with policyholders. The Texas Department of Insurance encourages the use of alternative dispute resolution methods like mediation to promote fairness, efficiency, and customer satisfaction in surplus lines insurance claims handling. Question 82. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. How do surplus lines insurers in Texas determine the appropriate reserves for claims? A. Ignoring claim estimates to minimize liabilities. B. Utilizing actuarial analysis and historical data. C. Denying claims based on arbitrary assessments. D. Delaying reserve calculations to avoid payments. Answer: B. Utilizing actuarial analysis and historical data. Explanation: surplus lines insurers in Texas determine the appropriate reserves for claims by utilizing actuarial analysis and historical data. Actuarial analysis involves assessing risk factors, estimating potential claim costs, and calculating reserves based on statistical models and past claim experience. This method ensures that insurers set aside sufficient funds to cover expected claim payments while maintaining financial stability. By relying on actuarial principles and historical data, insurers mitigate financial risks, comply with regulatory requirements set by the Texas Department of Insurance, and uphold industry standards in claims management. Accurate reserve calculations support prudent financial management and enable insurers to fulfill their obligations to policyholders effectively. Question 83. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Why is it important for surplus lines insurers in Texas to maintain detailed documentation during claims litigation? A. To obscure claim details and confuse legal proceedings. B. To delay litigation and increase legal expenses. C. To provide evidence and support defense strategies. D. To avoid settlement negotiations altogether. Answer: C. To provide evidence and support defense strategies. Explanation: it is important for surplus lines insurers in Texas to maintain detailed documentation during claims litigation to provide evidence and support defense strategies. Detailed documentation includes records of claim investigations, communications with policyholders, expert opinions, and legal advice. This documentation serves as critical evidence to substantiate insurer positions, refute claims, and defend against allegations in court. By maintaining accurate records, insurers demonstrate diligence, transparency, and compliance with legal obligations. The Texas Department of Insurance emphasizes the importance of thorough documentation to protect insurer interests, facilitate fair legal proceedings, and uphold industry credibility in surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Question 84. Surplus lines insurance claims process. How do surplus lines insurers in Texas ensure compliance with consumer protection laws during the claims process? A. Denying claims without explanation to avoid legal scrutiny. B. Delaying claim resolutions to discourage policyholder complaints. C. Adhering to fair claims practices and providing timely communications. D. Increasing premiums for policyholders to cover claim costs. Answer: C. Adhering to fair claims practices and providing timely communications. Explanation: surplus lines insurers in Texas ensure compliance with consumer protection laws during the claims process by adhering to fair claims practices and providing timely communications. Fair claims practices include prompt claim acknowledgements, thorough investigations, and clear explanations of claim decisions to policyholders. By communicating openly and transparently, insurers comply with regulatory requirements set by the Texas Department of Insurance, protect policyholder rights, and maintain industry standards. Compliance with consumer protection laws fosters trust, enhances customer satisfaction, and promotes a positive reputation within the surplus lines insurance market. Insurers that prioritize fair treatment and timely resolutions demonstrate commitment to ethical conduct and regulatory compliance in claims handling. Question 85. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. What are the key considerations for surplus lines insurers in Texas when negotiating settlement agreements? A. Maximizing claim denials to reduce insurer liabilities. B. Offering settlements without considering policyholder needs. C. Balancing fairness, policy terms, and policyholder expectations. D. Rejecting all settlement offers to avoid payouts. Answer: C. Balancing fairness, policy terms, and policyholder expectations. Explanation: surplus lines insurers in Texas must consider balancing fairness, policy terms, and policyholder expectations when negotiating settlement agreements. This involves reviewing policy provisions, assessing claim merits, and ensuring that settlements are equitable and in compliance with regulatory standards. By prioritizing fairness and policyholder needs, insurers uphold ethical standards and maintain positive relationships with their customers. The Texas Department of Insurance requires insurers to handle claims fairly and in good faith, which includes engaging in meaningful settlement negotiations that aim to resolve disputes promptly and satisfactorily. Question 86. Surplus lines insurance claims policy analysis. How do surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas interpret policy language and exclusions during claims handling? A. Ignoring policy provisions to expedite claim denials. B. Consulting with legal experts to misinterpret policy terms. C. Analyzing policy language to determine coverage and exclusions accurately. D. Rejecting all claims to minimize insurer losses. Answer: C. Analyzing policy language to determine coverage and exclusions accurately. Explanation: surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas interpret policy language and exclusions by analyzing the terms and conditions stated in the insurance policy. This involves understanding the scope of coverage, specific exclusions, and any limitations that may apply to the claim. Adjusters rely on their knowledge of insurance principles, legal interpretations, and regulatory guidelines set by the Texas Department of Insurance to make informed decisions regarding claim eligibility and coverage determination. Accurate interpretation of policy language ensures consistency in claims handling, protects insurer interests, and promotes fairness to policyholders. By adhering to these practices, adjusters contribute to maintaining market stability and trust within the surplus lines insurance sector. Question 87. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. How should surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas handle sensitive information and maintain confidentiality during claims processing? A. Sharing confidential details with unauthorized parties to expedite claims. B. Using confidential information to leverage low settlements. C. Ensuring secure handling of information and disclosing it only to authorized parties. D. Ignoring confidentiality guidelines to increase transparency. Answer: C. Ensuring secure handling of information and disclosing it only to authorized parties. Explanation: surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas should ensure secure handling of sensitive information and disclose it only to authorized parties during claims processing. This ethical practice involves safeguarding policyholder privacy, preventing unauthorized disclosure, and complying with confidentiality requirements mandated by the Texas Department of Insurance. Adjusters must maintain strict confidentiality to protect sensitive details related to claims, including personal information and financial data. By following confidentiality guidelines, insurers uphold trust, maintain professionalism, and mitigate risks associated with data breaches or privacy violations. Protecting confidential information enhances policyholder confidence and supports ethical conduct in surplus lines insurance claims handling. Question 88. Surplus lines insurance claims process. What role does effective communication play in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Texas? A. Withholding information to expedite claim denials. B. Providing clear and timely updates to policyholders throughout the process. C. Ignoring policyholder inquiries to avoid additional claim expenses. D. Delaying communication to discourage policyholder complaints. Answer: B. Providing clear and timely updates to policyholders throughout the process. Explanation: effective communication plays a crucial role in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Texas by providing clear and timely updates to policyholders throughout the process. This ensures transparency, builds trust, and allows policyholders to understand the status of their claims. Adjusters should communicate proactively, address policyholder concerns promptly, and provide accurate information to facilitate informed decisions. By maintaining open lines of communication, insurers demonstrate commitment to customer service and compliance with regulatory requirements set by the Texas Department of Insurance. Effective communication also helps mitigate disputes, streamline claims processing, and enhance overall customer satisfaction within the surplus lines insurance market. Question 89. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. How do surplus lines insurers in Texas manage litigation expenses during claims disputes? A. Increasing legal fees to discourage policyholder lawsuits. B. Utilizing litigation funding to delay court proceedings. C. Working with legal counsel to control costs and achieve cost-effective outcomes. D. Rejecting all settlement offers to prolong legal battles. Answer: C. Working with legal counsel to control costs and achieve cost-effective outcomes. Explanation: surplus lines insurers in Texas manage litigation expenses during claims disputes by working with legal counsel to control costs and achieve cost-effective outcomes. This involves developing litigation strategies, assessing risks, and exploring settlement options to minimize legal expenses. Insurers prioritize efficient use of resources, adhere to budget constraints, and engage in negotiations that aim to resolve disputes promptly. By managing litigation expenses responsibly, insurers uphold financial stability, protect policyholder interests, and comply with regulatory expectations outlined by the Texas Department of Insurance. Effective cost management strategies contribute to fair and equitable resolution of claims disputes, promoting industry best practices and maintaining market credibility. Question 90. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. Why is it important for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas to uphold professional standards and conduct? A. To expedite claim denials and reduce insurer liabilities. B. To maintain credibility, trust, and integrity in claims handling. C. Ignoring policyholder rights to maximize insurer profits. D. Delaying claims processing to avoid regulatory scrutiny. Answer: B. To maintain credibility, trust, and integrity in claims handling. Explanation: it is important for surplus lines claims adjusters in Texas to uphold professional standards and conduct to maintain credibility, trust, and integrity in claims handling. Professionalism involves treating policyholders fairly, adhering to ethical guidelines, and demonstrating accountability in decision-making processes. By upholding these standards, the adjusters promote positive insurer-policyholder relationships, comply with regulatory requirements set by the Texas Department of Insurance, and enhance industry reputation. Professional conduct also supports effective claims management, fosters transparency, and contributes to overall customer satisfaction within the surplus lines insurance market. Insurers that prioritize professionalism demonstrate commitment to ethical practices and responsible claims handling, reinforcing consumer confidence and market stability.